All right. Let those notifications go out. Yes, we are here. Right on time today. Glory be to God. Yes, we got some messages for you because it's important to understand in trauma healing, the spiritual healing. Okay. And the reason we know that it is spiritual healing is because we overcome those triggers. Those triggers are from the narc fleas, right? And so I have a video on the Patreon channel where I talk about how deliverance begins within. Okay? It begins with us before we can help others. You got to understand that's important because we also were affected by those negative not fleas. And so it takes time. And again, the tip I give you all often is one at a time, okay? Just like when you're trying to overcome the rumination phase over multiple narcs, one at a time, okay? Back to basics to get back on track. Never forget. All right, hello. Come on in. Let me get the comments going over here. And I'm going to get these. Hello, Chris. Welcome. And I had a chance yet to listen to the podcast, but it's fantastic. It really is. Chosen ones are natural when it comes to being able to articulate what we now know to be the spiritual awakening. And so we all do it differently, but we can relate to one another because we know. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Let's Just Chat show, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, where trauma healing and spiritual growth are front and center while combating radio frequency poisoning for healthier living. Trauma healing and spiritual growth occur here and at CHAAcademyBTBW.com with God's wisdom, basic scientific facts, tried and true proven trauma technique, and more. That's right. And the link to the Academy is always listed below for quicker access. Some of you may need to copy and paste the link to view what CHAAcademyBTBW.com offers to help you level up your trauma healing and spiritual growth. You are very welcome. And we're gonna get to the confidence building because that's the coaching coming out, because it does take time, and I understand because we all were taught by the world to seek perfection. Yes, we were. We all have that to overcome as part of our trauma healing, because that's the way the narcissistic matrix operates. And so remember, social influence is very, very, very strong. And that's why those kinds of fleas, okay, yeah, seeking perfection, that is a narc flea. It is a trigger because, right, these narcissists out here, the abusers, right, they always made us feel as though anything we did was never good enough. So that tricked us into doing what? Exactly. It tricked us into feeling as though we're not doing well enough, or that we're not doing good enough, or that, because we don't have a healthy level of self-confidence. And let's face it, all of that traumatization is designed to, diminish the self-confidence, self-esteem, trying to make us feel less than. It stopped working on it when we get into God's reality, okay? And that's what Consulting for Heightened Awareness is also here for you to help with, because it's really, truly part of the trauma healing. Because to walk in our purpose that God has for us, we have to have a healthy level of self-confidence. And I know that Jezebel case study, and I know what's going on out there in the world, and I know that whenever we run into little digital tech issues, okay, that is just in the spiritual and in the physical, that is just the enemy attempt to try and destroy my healthy level of self-confidence. It will never work because I see right through it, and so you all will too. Once you get to that point. And so I'm going to give you some tips. Absolutely. So as always, y'all get your notebooks out, however it is you take notes. Okay. Because I'm going to give you some tips, because it's tried and true. And you surprise yourself. Well, actually, that's God surprising us. And we learn to appreciate and want God surprises because they're awesome. Yeah. All our lives, right? What do we get told by that major? Well, you can't do this until you do this. And you can't do that until you finish this. One thing we learn when we get in God's reality is everything that they tried to tell us is opposite. Yeah, the matrix tried to tell me that I wasn't going to be able to, not in so many words, I'm paraphrasing here, but tried to tell me or give me the impression that I could not launch a consulting practice until I had the PhD in my hand. Well, as you can see, God qualified me first. But I got a master's degree, for crying out loud, already. So the world got it backwards. Never forget that. The world had it backwards. Now, mind you, there are some skill sets that we are going to need going forward, especially in the digital era that we are in. You know, so it's huge. And so I know I did not even do a sound check because I'm guessing that we're good. Yes, okay. Exactly. That part of the game of narcissism to trick us into feeling that we're not good enough as we are. And so I want y'all to understand, remember, God made us in his perfect image. And that doesn't mean, it just means the way he intended. It doesn't make us perfect. No. That's why we need Jesus. We're not perfect. But God made us perfect in his image. So when we look in the mirror, I want y'all to do that. Here's your first tip right there. Okay, because this is part of that deliverance, to get out from under that thinking, because that's a trigger. Okay, that's a trigger. So I want you to look in the mirror. I want you to look in the mirror, because when you're looking at yourself, you look in your own eyes, you're also looking at the God Spirit. And I want you to examine the shape of your eye, the shape of your nose, your lips, your face, your ears. And I want you to let God tell you he made you that way on purpose, that you are made in his perfect image. And that'll build your self-esteem too. Because far too long throughout our lives, we were told that we had to maintain a certain image. And we learn in God's reality that when we learn who we are in Christ, that we can be who we are in Christ. And that we don't, we start to do the opposite of what the Matrix tells us, for the most part, about a lot of things. So excuse me, that's the wrath of God right there, y'all. Those are not sad tears. Those are the wrath of God tears right there. Because, yeah, God takes it personal when his chosen ones are diminished like that. Never forget that. And he will take care of them. He always does. He will take care of them. Because getting that healthy level of self-confidence is necessary. There is no way I'd get up here and be public speaking without it. There's no way. All right, so yes, God restores it, and he restores it tenfold. So that's your first tip right there, is look in that mirror and examine yourself. Look within. Let God tell you he made you that way on purpose. Because the way he made you, your unique self, it goes with his perfect will for you. You see, God designed each and every one of us a certain way. And the way he designed us, okay, the way he shaped and molded us, it continues to do so as we are created a new creature in spirit. But as far as the physical, he created us to look this way because it goes with his perfect will, our purpose. So our looks go with whatever it is God's called us to do. We have our own unique styles because we're allowed. Because we learn that what the Matrix tried to teach us, that we had to be all like robotic-like and prim and proper and I mean now discernment, y'all. But that's what the Matrix teaches. Absolutely. That everybody's got to be the same, robotic. And we're like, what? No, in God's reality, it's not like that. God said, no. He said, not my chosen one. That I chose them out of that matrix to push us into our purpose. Take that leap of faith. I'm here to tell y'all. So, but yes, when you have a Jezebel parent who is always disapproving, you're not alone. Many of us, okay, excuse me, I've got to get a tissue. Many of us, okay, you all, many of us have had that because it's that demon of criticism, okay? It's that demon, right? It's that demon of criticism that they do. And it does over time, it wears and tears. We know that. Because that's part of them traumatizing us. That's part of their ways of trying to make us feel less than. And also, it's a way for them to, I know, it's crazy, but for them to feel superior. Right? Because, let's face it, these evildoers have what? That's right, they have a high-mindedness where they think they're better than everybody else. And so whenever we have a Jezebel parent like that is always disapproving of whatever it is we're doing, and they talk condescendingly to us, that definitely will break down any self-confidence that we might have. And thank you, Chris, for those kind words once again. Because, yes, we are all capable of doing our purpose, whatever God put us here to do, because we know what Jesus tells us in Matthew chapter 19, verse 26, right there. All right, make note of that. Matthew 19:26. Okay? But Jesus beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Once that sinks in and we understand that we can do what God has called us to do, absolutely, with God. That's why we let God guide our steps, so that we are walking in his footsteps. Because I'll tell you that many of us, if not all of us, were subjected to all of that negativity, yes, but we were subjected to a lot of criticism growing up. And so that does wear and tear on a person's psyche, on a person's sense of self-worth. Remember, God said we are worthy, chosen one. We are worthy. Hello, Jeremiah. Greetings. Hello. Yes, sending hugs and love to you all as well. Okay, seriously. Give yourself a little hug for me. All right, God says it's okay. That he knows all that we've been through. And he a restorer. So, little story time. How did I do it? Well, it wasn't me, right? It wasn't me, but for simplicity, how did I develop the necessary healthy level of self-confidence to get up here? Well, first of all, I got started. Okay. But for those who haven't heard this and those who need, well, it fits. It doesn't matter if you've heard it before or not, but it fits right here because it's how I did it. I had a little voice recorder. Right? That's right. A little voice recorder that I used for the pre-recorded podcast episode. I still use, I'm using it today. But I used it to start with short messages, vocal messages, played back to myself. Got used to my own voice. I cringed at first. Oh, yeah. Because of the lower level of self-confidence at the time. But we knew we had to do something. Because I was like, I'm going to be doing videos. I got to do videos. I just feel like, especially after launching the website and people were asking questions about the services and things like that. So I did a couple of short videos. And I remember when I did them the way that we were taught, prim and proper, and it was very low vibrational. I put those to talking about the website, the services, and things like that we offer. And I said to myself, after a while, I said, okay, I learned how easy it was to upload videos to YouTube. And I thought, okay. And so those MP3 voice messages are in the devil and narcissism space. I think I did just a couple of them. Got used to my own voice. I started speaking out loud more often in the car. Yep. While still at the toxic workplace. And then that last toxic workplace where I learned about Shopify and all of that to run a website. I learned some other things, obviously, too, but not a whole lot of it relevant to this ministry. But anyway, well, evergreen trees, okay, because this is evergreen content, meaning it's always going to be relevant. There's always going to be one of God's chosen one looking for this type of ministry and this type of messaging that resonates with them because they also know what we're talking about. So, it's just a matter of time. Okay, so that's what I did to break the ice. Got to break the ice somehow. So there's that's the tip right there. Break the ice. Because the more you do it, and the more you're like, okay, and you realize that with God, all things are possible. So when I did my very first video on Rumble, oh man, it was high energy. It was. No, unfortunately, I did not save that. But we ended up getting off that platform. Anyway, for those who don't know the story, it's just I was trying to upload one of When God Speaks video, and it was giving me a fit 3 times in the week. God told me, shut that down, focus. Okay. So, the more videos that we did, right? Now, remember, early on, I was still at that toxic workplace for a few weeks of making videos. And so the more energetic ones that were done in 2021 were on weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays. The ones that might be a little bit calmer, more reserved, were done early in the morning before going into the toxic workplace. So I had my spiritual energy in check, you see? Because I had to do that before going in there. Spiritual exercise that had to be done. And so that's how I did it. I just started a little bit at a time. And then once I would launch the website, did those couple of videos, realized how easy it is for YouTube. And so it just kind of went from there. And then I started learning how to edit, watching more how-to videos, wanting to learn this and that about iMovie. And so we just kept going with it. And so the more that we did it, the more we do things, the better at them we become, naturally. because chosen ones are born leaders. We are natural born overcomers. There we go. We are natural born overcomers. We are natural born a lot of things. All right. We wear many hats. That's why we're big on unpacking that bag on the inside. So that's the chips right there. I'm just giving y'all some examples on how, God restored for me. Because I didn't really have, once I got started and I made that first video, I hit that start button. It was like, man, God surprised me. I was like, whoa, okay. But I never once told myself that I couldn't do it. I got rid of that negative thinking, first and foremost. I never told myself once that I couldn't do it. And now we know why. Because with God, all things are possible. And then when I started the Patreon channel, I remember the Jezebel. When I mentioned that I had gotten that started, they sat there with the Jezebel trance-like stare. And they were like, oh, you started that already? I'm like, already? What's that about? You see, God has us getting things in position while I was in the other environment for such a time as now for all of it to catch up with me and to continue building. But we don't have to do it the same way, which is a blessing in disguise. When we were anywhere from 3 to 5 hours in the car office at the time, I'm not saying, of course, y'all are going to see car videos here and there. Oh, sure. We just don't know when. We just know that we're not going to do them on the same day that we got to run errands, because my ANS had to break that negative association of going back to the other environment. So anyhow, so that's a big part of it. And we just I also stayed away from negative. I blocked out all negative talk. And I moved in silence. I did not tell, right? I moved in silence. I still do. I did not tell anyone in the previous environment what I was doing. I did not tell them. I don't even think, well, they might know now, but I didn't even tell them about CHA Academy. They had no idea about that. Nope. The female Jezebel went to her grave never knowing about the academy. I did not share that with them at all, because that's right. The ability to teach. Remember, God tells us, He could call some to be preachers, some to be teachers, some to be both. Okay? For us to be ministers. Some of y'all, male chosen one, are called to be pastors. So, I don't know. We still have that. The jury's still out on whether a female can be a pastor or not. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. I just know that I'm a minister, and that's fine. I like that, because I'm also a teacher, I preach, and things like that. But we know that with God, all things are possible. And so there's that, because that's part of the deliverance. See, we got to be delivered out from under all the negativity first. That really is the starting point right there, because the world would have us think that if it didn't come out perfect or to their liking, we stop caring. That's the other tip right there. We learn to stop caring what they think, because what God thinks is what matters. So that podcast episode, Chris, God is well pleased. Absolutely. And that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And I guarantee you that sucker is going to it's probably already been downloaded by several people. I promise you that. So there you go. And I don't even check the stat on that website where I put the podcast, the pre-record. I don't even check the stats on that very often at all, because I see there's people downloading our CHA Truth Seeker podcast. So we know people are downloading them. That's all that matters. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, it's not all that matters, but it's like, oh, cool. But we don't, we're not sitting there watching water boil. And so I wanted everybody to understand the importance of that for confidence building, because we stop caring what they think, because that's what the world wants us to do, is to care what everybody else thinks. Oh, is my hair okay? So there's the other thing. We stop asking. We stop asking people if our clothes look okay. We stop I did that a long time ago. Because we learned that these narcissists, if we ask them, oftentimes they would, they would be very negative about it. Or we didn't even ask them, and they would say, why are you wearing that shirt? Why are you wearing that shirt with those shorts? Why are you wearing that? Why are you wearing that to the store? That's a narcissist for you. Because it's all designed to lower your self-confidence. Let me share something with y'all really funny. Okay? And I believe I mentioned it in Real Events of Narcissistic Abuse with the ex-psycho roommate and his pretend mistress. Well, when she started dressing like me, trying to copy, and I kid you not, how did she know to put on a pair of jean shorts and like a black tank top? Well, because the ex-psycho checked her when I would leave the house wearing a black tank top and blue jean shorts. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, because I hadn't even gotten to the work site yet, and she was already wearing. Anyhow, when I caught on to that, I went, oh, really? You think you're going to get away with this? Okay. So I went to the store. I bought me some cameo shorts and like a cami green top. I had some, at the time I had Christmas socks. Y'all know where I'm going, right? So we did pigtail. And we started wearing mix-match socks. Oh, man, yeah, the socks didn't match. The sneakers, cameo shorts, and then maybe some a shirt that didn't even match. And I said, all right, we call it Individuality Day. And I'll go to work. She couldn't keep up. I said, yeah, you think you can get away with trying to copy me like that? No, God switched it up. So, as you can say, apparently I had some self-confidence because I didn't care what anybody thought. I still don't. If I catch somebody doing that today, I'll do the same thing. Oh, yeah. I'll find me some non-matching stuff. I'll strut around. Try it. That's why I say, y'all, these evildoers cannot mirror our spirituality. And that's just a great example of how God switches things up. So, yes. Okay, so yeah, we stop asking for permission to be ourselves. That's it right there. We stop asking permission. Because we're not in elementary school or high school anymore. We don't have to raise our hand and say, can I go to the bathroom? No, we are grown adults. Excuse me for a moment. I need to go use the restroom. We stop asking for permission because that will continue to give others the illusion of power and control over us. As grown adult, you want to, I know, it depends on the workplace policies or what have you, but even in the toxic workplaces that I was in, I didn't ask permission. I told them, I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Because we're grown adults. We don't need to be asking permission for stuff like that. Especially ask permission to be ourselves. We can be our silly, crazy selves. That's the authenticity that the world lacks a lot of, right? Yeah, that matrix, it lacks authenticity. Hence why there's a demand for it. So, yeah, that's all we need to do is be who we are. Right, okay. Yes, evergreen content is always here for when they need it. Absolutely. And so, exuberant and great. Okay, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but okay, fringe for love of life. Right. They do. The evildoers have a love of life. Yep. And yeah, he sure did. He checked what I was wearing. Oh, they absolutely. Remember, whenever one of these evildoers tried to copy us, that is also them mocking. Their human side wants to be like us, so that's that doing it. But in the spiritual, they're definitely mocking us. And what do we know? Be not deceived. God is not mocked. So he switched it up. That's why I said if I see someone trying to do that these days, I'll do the same thing. I'll give you some funky clothes. So yeah, they definitely were mocking, absolutely. And so yeah, going on with this one. Try matching this, you suckers. Right, you get used to being on stage and being seen and not hiding away. Yes, you do. Eventually, you get used to it. And not only that, we don't get up here to be seen. You know what I'm saying? That's not really what we're up here for. We're up here to deliver the message, but we know that a visual, definitely, especially being virtual, it helps a lot with the building that rapport, with each other and then coming together. And so, okay, you can feel the authenticity behind it. So that's why it's important. And so we don't have it in our mindset that when we get up here, go live or do a pre-recorded video, we don't have it in our mindset that we're doing it to be seen. That's not really, it's more to be heard than it is to do anything because of the messaging that we're giving. But the trauma healing, overcoming the trauma trigger, this is all part of it, the confidence building and that, because in order to build a healthy level of self-confidence, God will do it. That's right. And it really stems from being delivered from all those negative pleas, because far too long we would tell ourselves that we can't do something. So that's another tip right there. We stop doing that. Stop telling ourselves that we can't and learn to develop the can-do attitude. There's your other tip. Okay, we stop telling ourselves that we can't. Now, if there is something that we want to get to, but we are unable to get to at the time, we change the wording because we've got all things possible. So in knowing this, right? So for example, there is an activity that I would like to go and do, and we will again one day, to take a tour out here. It's just that we're unable to at this time because we need to make sure that this physical body is 150%. Okay, we need to be fully recovered from any bruising, before I can actually go do that activity. So I just tell myself every time I go by and I see it, y'all know what I'm talking about. You hear the noises in the background, right? So, I'll take a little a tour around the city, and I walk by one of those things every day, and I see them coming and going, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna do that again one day. I've already done it once when I was in Myrtle Beach. The ex-psycho roommate was sitting in the back. Oh, his face was so beet red because he was hoping that I would be afraid to go in one of those, because at the time I was under the impression I might have had a fear of heights, and I really don't. That was from the Jezebel that gave birth to me, influencing me because of her own. Because when I said, you know what? Let's find out. Turned out I don't have that. So I was like, oh, okay. Because I enjoyed that ride. That was really cool. And he was sitting in the back seething because he did not get a fear response or anything negative out of me for that. I enjoyed the ride. So, yeah, it's like, okay. That's the other thing we got to learn. When we are in God's reality and things like that, we are, remember, we're purging that subconscious. That's part of deliverance for trauma healing. Because we have to get out from under all of that negative stuff, negative thinking, negative self-talk. Yeah, we did a lot of that, didn't we? What a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right? So I understand, you a little bit nervous maybe about getting on the podcast or coming on as a guest or what have you, and that's perfectly normal. But I'm going to tell you something. I did not detect that. And I guarantee, I did not catch that. I could not tell. So I need y'all to just relax. And I gave you some exercises. I'm going to give you another one for building that confidence, okay? I want you to think of something that is a heart's desire, that's a righteous heart desire, something new that you've been wanting to try. Maybe you've been wanting to test your hand at writing short story, what have you. Maybe you, whatever it is, I don't know. Only you do. There's something that's on your heart desire to learn that you've never done before. I want you to go do it. Yeah, I got a good example for you. Remember, I would always eat other people's deviled egg when they made them. But for the first time ever, I did something new for me. I made my own deviled egg. Something that simple. Because that built that internal validation. Remember, God is the only validation that we need. And He's on the inside. God is the only validation that we need. So we learn to start building that internal validation by doing things like that. Well, I've never done that before. Let's do it. Because you can. I got another example for y'all. See, when I was in the other environments, this is how powerful your speech and your thoughts are. Okay? How we change that thinking. It's all part of the renewing of the mind to get delivered out from under all those negative thoughts. Okay, when I was in the other environment, for whatever reason, I was wanting to make a 2-egg omelet. And because I said I can't seem to make a decent omelet these days at that other place. But I also now realize, since being in here, where the frequency is more normal, radio frequency is in normal range, I'm noticing a lot of different things. Like when I cook here, not doing the comparing thing, but noticing the difference. Because in that other environment, food would stick to, a lot of stuff. And so I was like, okay. And then the 2-egg omelet just ended up being scrambled eggs with cheese because it just was not working out. And I realized it's because I was thinking that. And then I spoke it. Well, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even nothing. When I got here, after I got settled, I got me some eggs, and I said, all right, we didn't even think negative. We did not even think, because this is how powerful that influence is when you're around negative people all the time. Yeah, I know. I learned. So guess what? I made 2-egg omelet. And it was an actual omelet. After several go-rounds of that, I went, hey, wait a second. I'm making like almost, I'm not going to say, I don't want to say perfect, but yeah, almost perfect omelet now. What's up with that? And then God reminded me, he said, well, you changed your thinking. You stopped telling yourself that you can't make stuff. You take that can't out and develop the can-do attitude. That's how powerful our thoughts are. And then we speak them into existence. So we learn to stop doing that. Okay, don't tell yourself you can't. If there's something you want to get to, but you're unable to because of a certain circumstance, there you go. That's how you want to word it. And I will share with you all that there are moments where I have to be reminded to don't say can't, say unable. All right? Yeah, I'm still there every once in a while, because saying the word can't, I mean, that's years of conditioning. So even I have to purge a lot of that from my subconscious mind as well. You are not alone. So that's going to take a little while. You'll find yourself flipping up every once in a while, but God will step in and say, hey, yes, you can. You're just unable to for whatever reason. There's a circumstance that is causing the inability to do something at that particular time or season. But you will get to it. So, yeah, I just want to give you all that. Something that you've never done before, and do it. That's right. No, those tours are not expensive at all. I think that it's like $1 a minute, 15 bucks. That's not bad at all. No. That's it. Unable at the moment, but will be able to soon. There you go. It's all in how you talk to yourself for that confidence building. It really is, and you're welcome. Yes, you do know what to expect for the next time, and it really, when you think back on the experience, it's not really complicated, is it? For the podcasting, it's not. So I mean, yeah. I feel like it came together smoothly because it's of God. It's a godly connection. So yeah, I mean, it's yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's see. There's another tip I've got for you all on confidence building. You know, it really, never forget. Okay, it's a mental and spiritual activity that has to be intentional with trauma healing to be delivered out from under those negative things, and that help build that self-confidence. Okay, so embarking on doing something that you've never done before, that you've wanted to do, go do it. As long as it's good. Okay, it's gotta be righteous. But let's see if I can think of an. Well, recently, yeah, I'm on the prowl for some fresh herbs. I've never done this before. I've never repotted. So I'm there with you too, doing things I've never done before. And it's exciting because the more you do things like that, oh man, the more God surprises you. So yeah, I still got to do some research because I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to that stuff. So it's beautiful though, because not only doing something that I've never done, and so it's like, okay, because I like the fresh herbs in my dishes. So let me give y'all another positive example. Let's see if I can. Something that I've never done. that I've done. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. Oh, yeah. Because I can't say I've never done research because I continue to do that. But basically, okay. Remember the choker ladder? That purple choker ladder? I never made something like that before. So we went and got the stuff and we did it. We got the rods, we got the platform, we got the paint, we got super glue, and we made a purple ladder. You know, that spiritual ladder? Okay. Heightened awareness, so it fit. Let me get it. I'll show y'all what it looks like now. Yeah. Give you that inspiration of something that I've never done before. And I did pick up some stars. I don't know if you all will be able to see that, but time to show y'all the finished product. I went and got some stars to put on that platform. But there you go. That's something I've never done before. It's a spiritual ladder. And you see, so there you go. And the finished product is serving its purpose just fine. Now, we'll put it back. There you go. All right. All of that stuff, doing things like that can help build that confidence that you need. Because every single time you accomplish something, that's building that internal validation. So if you are still a little bit dependent on external validation, that's the other tip. Got to get over that. Remember, we're really big on that. Breaking that dependency on external validation by understanding that God is the only validation that we need, and He's on the inside. So that way, each time we embark on something that we've never done before ourselves, you know what I'm saying? It just continues to nurture that healthy level of self-confidence because we have it. And so now when we do things, I never put my own desk together before. I never put my own dresser together before. I never put my own bookshelf together before. So we did, because I know it's not me. It's with God, all things are possible. Yeah. See, because all of these, well, I had to have the couch delivered, obviously. That I could not do that by myself. But yeah, all of the things, the desk, the dresser, and the bookshelf, they all came as do-it-yourself stuff. So I had to follow the instructions, and I put them all together. Not perfectly, but it works. Okay? Yeah, because I got a couple of those shelved backwards. Never mind. It don't matter. I can always get some paint and fix that if I want to, but we're not seeking perfection up in here. Okay? And so there you go. There's a lot of things that I've done in this little apartment. A shoe rack. I put it together. I'd never done that before. So just little things like that. You know, it just is what it is. And so, with God, all things are possible. So I don't even think twice. If I order something and it needs to be put together, I know I can do it. Because God makes it possible. The dependency on others has to go away and become dependent on God 100%. That's all part of it. Now, again, discernment. Like with that couch, I knew I had to have some help with that. There was no way I was that wasn't going to fit in my car. But just things like that. I'm just giving y'all some examples here to help you and think outside the box too. Here's another tip. I want y'all to do that. Take a look around you and focus on things that you have done. Do that. Focus on things that you have accomplished. Because make a list, in fact. Because chosen one, we accomplish a lot throughout our lives. It's just a lot of times we don't stop for a moment to smell the roses. Because you're going to realize when you make that list of things that you have accomplished, you're going to realize, oh, yeah, okay. Start to help you develop that can-do attitude. Because yes, you can. Yeah, that world wants to try. Never mind. We're not listening to the Matrix. And we're not listening to naysayers. Like I've said before, and in other videos and elsewhere, is that we got to cut them naysayers off. That's a big part of our confidence building right there. Because we stop listening to that, the negative stuff. We stop listening to the negative news. Because it ain't real anyway. And so we start getting more of God's wisdom. That's right. We start seeking more positive things in life. So if you wanted to start, let's say, an herb garden and you've never done it before, do it. Do it. Give it a try. No, don't try. Do it. I mean, things like that. That if you're able to, okay, right, meaning your circumstances will allow for you to do what it is you've never done. And then also make that list of things you have accomplished, because that right there, you're going to be surprised. I guarantee it. You will be surprised. You have to do some self-reflecting, obviously. Okay, I will show you all something. And it's not, right, we're not being, braggadocious or anything. I have asked God, if I need to hang on to all of that for whatever reason. But I have let me see if I can get it out. Oops. It's my green screen, blue screen thing. Alrighty. Take a look at your accolade, right? Your achievement. Look what we did. Certified trauma specialist. Qualified by God and signed by Jesus, too. There you go. All right. So, this is not, I probably will end up getting rid of some of these, but the certificates of academic achievement throughout my life, this was being an honor graduate of high school, okay? And then that business college that went out of business, they gave me a computer application diploma. And then in undergrad, our president's list, things like that. I want y'all, and then leadership awards. So things like this, all right, that you've accomplished throughout your life. Okay. Now I'm not sure whether or not I may not even hang on to all of this stuff, but certificate of completion, forensic technology center of excellence. I forget what with RTI International. I don't recall. I know it's for forensic training that I did that. Oh, it was impression pattern trace evidence symposium is what it was. Okay, I'm glad I saved that. Right, that goes with my forensics background. And then, of course, when I completed the competition, and then these are poems that I wrote at a very young age, obviously. So there's just something, and now I don't, like I said, I don't know if the Lord's going to have me keep all of these. I already got rid of a good bit of them, but obviously for my records, there's a medical thing that that he told me I need to hang on to. Had to do with my hearing and eyes, so because I need to hang on to that. But anyhow, I just wanted to show you all that. Okay, not for bragging purposes or anything. It pretty much stays in the drawer. All right? I don't even have these out, but it just goes to show that yes, you can. And when you go through, it's not living in the past, but you go through and you remember the things you have accomplished, it's like, wow, you'll be surprised. And that should build your confidence. Yes, thank you. Yeah, because I saved all of my trauma training notes. I saved all of them because I'm going to share with you all a lot of that in its simplicity. Obviously, for trauma healing, absolutely. And so when I learned that, I learned a little secret, and that right, I said, I was like, Michelle R. Dickey is awarded this certificate for her accomplishment in the field of trauma healing and to demonstrate her competence with God's wisdom. There you go. Yeah, I made that. Yeah, it's in Canva. Oh, we learn a lot of things in God's reality that we didn't know once before about a lot of things. And now, mind you, there are institutions, obviously, that oh, yeah. Okay, because it's going to have their seal on it to be considered legit. All right, you all. So just know, because I'm qualified by God, just like you are qualified by God. I'm going to tell y'all something. God qualifies us to do what he calls us to do. Okay, God qualifies us first. Our earthly credential are just basically a bonus, because we got to stay spiritually minded. And so you all will find out as you build that confidence that you're going to be delivered out from under those negative fleas. You'll know, because you will not tell yourself that you can't anymore. Well, again, every once in a while we do slip up, but we quickly fix that and change the wording to unable to at this time. So that way, going forward, when we are thinking about what it is that we're overcoming, you don't want to dwell on it, but you'll feel a lesser burden on your shoulders. Yeah, you will. And it's one step at a time. And so it won't feel so heavy anymore on the shoulders. You're like, oh. And so when you go and you do something that you have been wanting to do and you've not done it before, that's huge. So God will surprise you, because with God, all things are possible. So if you think that, let's say, for example, you're into carpentry work, but you have, let's say, a cupboard or cabinet or dresser or what have you that need to be refurbished or fixed. and you've been thinking that you don't have the wherewithal to do it yourself. Well, with God, you're going to do it. There are tons of how-to videos right on this YouTube platform for how to do that. Absolutely. Now, if it is something that requires a different area of expertise, now, for example, pest control, right? Okay, so that's out of my area of expertise, except I know that I can spray a little bit of bleach. That's mine, because they don't like the smell of bleach if I need to in the meantime. But other than that, that's outside my area of expertise. Now, forensic entomology I've studied, so obviously I know about the behavior and the nature of those things. They're very similar to narcissists, by the way. That's not a coincidence. Oh my. Okay. Yeah, and so I'm going to continue to bring you all these things because there is a lot to unpack. And I believe I've given you enough to work with for confidence building. And really, the gist of it is all about how you speak to yourself about yourself. It really matters. Truly, truly matters. Because if you speak ill of yourself, well, what a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right? And so we don't want to allow. See, that leaves room for more garbage to get in there. And that's a trick of the enemy. As the world tried to tell us that we had to do things this way or that way or that way. And I understand, because the Matrix likes to complicate things that are not complicated. But these are things that you can do, even while at work. You got to be mindful what you're thinking. Right? It's like my mentor in spirit came out with the motto, about changing that stinking thinking. Okay? So I'm a part of that because it's good. Yeah, she came out with that. I was like, oh yeah, talk about renewing of the mind. Absolutely. Because we have to change that thinking. Turning negatives into positive. So there's your final reminder right there. Is if you have something that occurs, for example, the tech glitches that I ran into yesterday with getting that podcast episode up. Well, because I had deleted it out of StreamYard after I converted it to MP3, but I didn't know it was still playing in the background when I tried to upload it into the platform. So when it uploaded into the platform, it said 0.00 minute. Well, when I finally was able to get some audio going, it was all distorted because I didn't know it was still playing in the background while it was okay. So that was on me. However, it did make for a bit of a challenge. So I had to do. Right, when I pulled it up on the PC to see if the audio had straightened itself out. Excuse me. To see if the audio had straightened itself out. And so once I noticed that it did, I couldn't get it to stop playing in the background on the PC. And I was like, what? Okay, that's a digital demon. What is going on? So I ended up having to restart the PC a couple of times to get it to quit running in the background. So once I was able to do that, then I got it uploaded. And it was fine. It worked just fine. So it took a few go-rounds, though, to get that sucker up. And I said, okay, now we learned a lesson, though, that when I do it that way, because I checked it to make sure that it took on the device, I'm going to be more mindful going forward when we do things like that, that when I check to make sure it takes, I'm going to make sure that I stop it from playing in the background on the phone, then upload it to the iCloud so I can access it on the PC, because I'm all Apple. So I'm like, okay. So I am looking at the lesson. That's what I wanted to share with you all right there. Because I'm not focusing on the attack, okay, the spiritual attack side of it. No, because whatever. I focused on the lesson on, okay, going forward, what do I want to make sure of doing? See, that's how we change that thinking. Okay, we're not focusing on, because that's what the devil wants. The devil wants you to focus on all the negative stuff. But see, what God told me to do is just change the file name, restart the computer. We had to do it a couple times. And then I focused on the lesson. I said, okay, now I know what to do going forward. Just like now, Chris, you know what to expect going forward when you join her. So, same thing. So I had a lesson to learn too. And so we learn not to allow those negative triggers linger anymore. It's like, oh, okay, so we noted the attack. Okay, not surprised. Because the enemy is always trying to sabotage. So we learn to get around that resistance. Remember, because with God all things are possible. So when we meet resistance like that, we know that narcissism causes resistance. So with God, get around that resistance. And we did. And voila, problem solved. And lesson learned. Right, focusing on what we can learn from the glitches. There you go. There you go. There we go. I got to put... Yep, these are Skechers sandals. That's right. And it's funny that you say that, because there was a little bitty one when I was doing an ice pack attack on the couch there earlier. There was a little one that was just running around in circles. So what I did, I took my Skechers flip-flop off. Splat. I sure did. Yep. And the R. Oh, for those who don't know, okay, yeah, the R stands for Renee. That's my middle name. Yep, that's my middle name. So there you go. Yeah, it's supposed to have the French accent on top, in between the E's, but a lot of times it don't. But yeah, and that's that. So there you go, you guys. I got you a bunch of tips for you to be working on building that confidence, and I'm gonna keep you motivated. I'm gonna bring some of these reminders to you here and there, because yeah, we realize there is no reason for us to be feeling bad about ourselves anymore. No, we realize there never was any reason to in the first place. However, we didn't know that yet. But now that we know that God, yeah, he got how he intended for us to be, so we can heal, right? Remember, God wants his chosen ones to heal. Oh yeah. All right, so we're going to wrap this one up at that. Yes, thank you. Thank you. And we just got, yeah, I'll keep going forward. So I want to give everybody this week's, since Sunday is the first day of the week, technically, the Bible verse with the message, Matthew 22, verse 44. Okay. The Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou on my right hand till I make thine enemy thy footstool. There's a lot of meaning to that. And one of them is the fact that God is going to not only bless us, but rebuild us right in front of those who tried to destroy us. That's how he's making these narcissists our footstool. That's spiritual, you all, not literal. Okay, so you're going to hear more on that message throughout the week. That's what God has us doing at Consulting for Heightened Awareness now. He's giving us a weekly message. So we're practicing, okay? We're going to keep doing it, right? Yeah, something that we've never done before, but, well, we have now, last couple of weeks, but we want to get better at staying on that message when we go live, when we do a pre-record, because there's a lot to unpack in that one verse. At CHA Academy, and thank you, Chris. I'm going to get in there later on this evening. I'll take care of that, because you know we're going to have our weekly stuff, okay, fun fact, and that's the Bible verse of the week as well, but I'm going to have a different message for you right in there. And so there you go, everybody. Yeah, as always, don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. You are very welcome for the confidence building tips, always. And I'm going to come back out with those. Absolutely, because, God knows that we need to be reminded of things sometimes. Okay? Yeah, he does. He knows. Okay? And so I'll go ahead and answer any... Okay, Renee with an accent thingy over the E. Haha. Thank you, Chris. All right, we will see you later. Yes, absolutely. And get you some rest, everybody. All right, allow yourself some rest. This is a lot of work to do, and you're not going to do it overnight. So, one thing at a time, one day at a time, and you will see. You will notice it about yourself as that stuff starts to fall off. And then you go to the store and they start giving you those looks of hate and the evil eye. And you just smile because they just shows you who they are. It no longer stings. You get delivered out from under those triggers. All right, everybody, there you go. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Let's Chat Show. Streaming on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, where trauma healing and spiritual growth are front and center while combating radio frequency poisoning for healthier living. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father, and you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.